This is another great episode. I'm chatting with Lori Saitz of Zen Rabbit and host of the podcast Fine is a four-letter word. In this episode, we touch on what meditation and gratitude are, the benefits, and how you can connect with your inner voice. Buckle up. This is going to be another fun ride. This is the Roller Coaster Podcast. We are here to help you be empowered and renew your sense of purpose as a midlife mom. This is your time to redefine and reclaim your power as a woman. Just because our kids are getting older doesn't mean that our lives still don't have crazy twists, turns, ups and downs. And that's not to mention what our hormones are doing. We're navigating helping our kids plan their next chapters while quietly wondering, what the heck does my next chapter look like? My name is Lucy Q, wife, mom, podcaster, and journaling mentor. This is a crazy time in your life, but you are not alone. So I'm inviting you to throw your head back, arms in the air, and come along with me for the ride.
Life is like a roller coaster, baby, baby. I wanna ride, 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 roller coaster. Life is like a roller.
Welcome to the roller coaster, Lori. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm so excited about this episode because we're going to be chatting about two of my favorite topics. And for me, when I think of success and the tools that I've used on my journey of growth that I've been on over the last 5 years, you're really looking at the trifecta for success of meditation, gratitude, and journaling. And even, you look at different celebrities and highly successful people, they all have meditation, gratitude, and journaling as part of their practice. So, I'm excited to dive into this topic and really start to break down some of the misconceptions and myths that people have around gratitude and meditation. So, if you're ready, let's dive on in.
Let's do it.
Great. Okay, so let's start off with, what is meditation?
That's a great question. And you were talking about all the myths and misconceptions around this whole concept. And I encounter these all the time because people are like, I'm not good at meditating. Okay, well, do you understand what it is? And usually they don't. And that's why they think they're not good at it. So let's start first with what it's not. And it's not necessarily, it can be, but it's not necessarily sitting on the floor on a mat in complete silence for hours at a time, clearing all of the thoughts out of your head and just like being enlightened. That's what people tend to think. That's what meditation is.
It is though. Like, before you go on, I want to touch on that for a second, because a lot of people do think that it's about this perfect pose and how you're holding your hands and how you're sitting, and your brain is completely void of thought, which is impossible.
Exactly.
We're humans. And I heard one person reference that if you're trying to achieve that, then basically give up all of your worldly possessions, leave everybody you know, and go live as a monk somewhere in Tibet.
Right. And I don't even know that they who have been maybe practicing for 20 or 30 or 40 years can completely clear all the thoughts in their head. So first of all, we're creating highly unrealistic expectations for ourselves if that's what we think meditation is. My version of meditation is really getting quiet enough to hear your inner voice, your intuition, whatever you want to call it, your inner truth. And there are so many different ways you can do that. In my version of teaching meditation, there isn't a wrong, there are so many different ways to do it. It could be sitting and listening to a guided meditation, which sometimes people are like, well, isn't that cheating? No. Guided meditation with music behind it or no music. It's what works for you. It's like when I see in some of the fitness groups I'm in on Facebook, and people will post a question and be like, what's the best running shoe? Okay, that's an impossible question to answer because it depends on your biomechanics and your feet and there are tons of different brands and they all fit people differently. So one fits one person and doesn't fit another person. It's the same with meditation. So maybe you need a walking meditation out in nature, for example, and you're just without your electronics, paying attention to what are the sounds I'm hearing? What am I seeing? And you're just kind of shutting down the outside noise.
So really, meditation, there's a lot of different tools and resources that are available to people if you're interested in exploring what meditation is. For me, the first place I started was YouTube. And you can find some really, really good meditations out there. Unfortunately, YouTube's changed some of the ways that they place ads. And every now and then, if the person hasn't been careful about how they set up their video, all of a sudden you're in the middle of this really great meditation and up pops an ad.
Right.
It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. And for me, because I do have a hard time focusing. Even in the general run of the day when I'm working, my mind is always somewhere. So meditation was extremely challenging for me at the beginning until I found the right meditation to listen to. And it's actually one that I subscribe to Gaia. So it's one of the ones on there. And it's a very simple, it's a 10-minute meditation. And the person doing it, her name is Stephanie Schwartz, and she has a very simple mani padme hum chant that she repeats. And for me, it does give me something to focus on. And yeah, you know what? There are some days, this morning was a good example, where, my brain, I'd pull it back in and it'd be gone. I'd pull it back in and it'd be gone.
Well, and that's part of the practice that I think people who don't practice meditation don't understand right away, is that pulling your mind back from your thoughts is part of the practice. Like, that's normal. That's part of the thing.
And is meditation part of, how do I want to say this? Being aware of what you're thinking and when you're thinking it, and sort of that catching yourself, because that's what you have to do in meditation, is that you have to become aware of the fact that, oh my God, I'm thinking about what groceries I need and what I'm cooking for dinner tonight. And you've got to snap yourself back and go, okay, no.
Focus on your breathing. Yeah. Focus on your breathing, or the sound of the meditation teacher's voice, or your mantra, whatever it is that you started out focusing on.
Yeah. And it's about, for me, it's about teaching your mind to be aware of what it's doing and when it's doing it, so that you can control it. And, how that's translated in my own life is, how sometimes we have those conversations in our head.
All the time.
When we're having what I'm going to say to somebody, or what I need to do, or how I'm going to deal with something, you always have these conversations going. And for me, meditation helps me realize when I'm doing it, and not just let your mind keep going on that conversation, but just to pull back and go, okay, wait a second. What am I feeling? What am I feeling about this? I mean, obviously with dinner, it's probably like, what am I feeling? I just can't think of what I'm having for dinner tonight. But really, when you're sort of talking about maybe having a follow-up conversation with somebody, it helps you bring into focus how you're feeling about having that conversation.
Yeah. Well, you're tapping into your feelings. And a lot of people I talk to were raised in families where they weren't allowed to have emotions, or they didn't recognize their feelings, that wasn't a valid expression. And so they shut down. And so it really is, that's what it comes back to, is it's about allowing, whether you're allowing thoughts or feelings or emotions or whatever it is, allowing, recognizing, and then pulling yourself back to that place, that center of calm, of tapping into, okay, this is like tapping into your heart, really.
So, on the note of tapping into your heart, that wants me to bring into the conversation gratitude, because for me, they go hand in hand.
Mhm.
So can you maybe share a little bit about how gratitude weaves into the meditation practice?
Yeah, I mean, they're two different concepts, but gratitude is the highest energetic vibration that we can achieve. It's love and gratitude, which are sometimes essentially the same thing. So when you can tap into a feeling of gratitude, you are energetically raising your vibration. It's because we are all made of we're all energetic beings. And so putting it this way, so you're feeling gratitude, or you could be feeling a lower level vibrational energy, which could be frustration or anger or overwhelm. And there's the Abraham Hicks, that Esther Hicks, that the vibrational scale. I can't remember how many are on there, 15 or 16 or something, but there's different levels, and you're always at one of the levels on this ladder, and gratitude and love are at the top. So if you can get yourself into feeling gratitude, you're going to be, when I say vibrating at a higher level, you're just feeling better. If that's like the most basic explanation, is you feel really good. Like, think of how it feels when you're in love, or when you are looking at something that you love, a child, a pet, whatever it is, like you just feel so good. And that's the same when you are feeling gratitude for something. It's just your whole body feels good. And so when you are in a meditation, if you can get yourself to that same place of, and there are gratitude meditations, they're not necessarily the same thing, but you can do the same at the same time. Like, go into a meditation where you are visualizing, and I've created some of these myself, visualizing gratitude for whatever it is in your life you're grateful for, visualizing how you and feeling like, just, if you can, I'm trying to express, like, how do you get yourself to feel good, to feel even better?
And I think that's a really good point, because it's easy to feel good when things are going well.
Yes.
It's really, really, really hard to be grateful when you're in the middle of the shitstorm. So
And
how when we're in the middle of the shitstorm, can we refocus and recenter so that we are pulling that vibration of gratitude in?
yeah, that's the key. And it is possible, because you can find gratitude for any situation if you look for it. So this is what I'm always telling people, is that when you can always find things to complain and criticize about. At the same time, you can always find things to be grateful for. It's your choice. And what you focus on, you will get more of. So if you're looking for things to complain about, you'll find plenty of them. And if you're looking for things to be grateful for, you'll find plenty of those too. So is there even a shred of something that you can be grateful for in what you described as, you're in a shitstorm? Where is the gratitude? Like, look for it. Actually look for it, because you will find it. It's just a matter of looking for it. So let's say your car breaks down and you call a tow service, roadside assistance. You could be grateful that you had the ability to get off the road safely, that you could call roadside assistance, that where is it? Yes, it's an inconvenience, and at the same time, where can you find the gratitude?
And, sometimes for myself, when I'm struggling to find something to be grateful for, sometimes you can just find peace in just, I don't know what the lesson is. I don't know what the outcome of the situation is right now, but I know I'll find that out later. And I'm grateful for that lesson.
Yes. That's where it comes again back to acceptance. Okay, I accept this is what's happening right now.
Yeah. Because, quite often, hindsight's 20/20. 20. Yes. For me, one of the most, painful experiences that I've had so far is when I hit rock bottom. But because I hit rock bottom, I was able to then create tools and resources to help pull me out, which then led me to my meditation practice, that led me into fully understanding gratitude and having this, going from, what I want to say is more of a broken version of myself to being more whole and complete, and being able to find gratitude in everything. Something came up some unexpected, I don't know if it was a bill or repair or something came up the other day. And, right now, nobody likes to shell in any extra money than you have to. But I looked at my husband, I said, let's just be grateful that we have the money just to take care of this and move forward. Sure, we don't want to spend the money on this, but we don't have a choice. Let's just be grateful that we have this opportunity. Whereas my other self, it wouldn't have just been a bad hour. It would have been a bad day that probably turned into a bad week, that was turned into fueling that whole victimhood that we can, when you're not centered in, a lifestyle that practices gratitude.
Absolutely. And that's what it is you are training yourself to be a better version of yourself.
So what would you say would be, if you had to pinpoint it to, let's say, 3 major benefits of meditation and gratitude, what would those be for you?
The first one, hands down, is peace of mind. So many people are looking for, they're running around hair on fire, waiting for the next clown to jump out from around a corner. And that's where they live from. It's just chaos all the time. And they say they want peace of mind. Here's how you get it. I'm telling you, this is how you get it. So number 1, it's peace of mind. There are so many other benefits. Emotional intelligence. So you are, it helps, actually brain imaging research shows that meditation helps regulate your emotions. So if you are responding to a situation instead of reacting, the extension of that benefit is that you are less likely to be drawn into conflict. So you have better relationships, whether it's with your family or in business, whether it's with clients or colleagues or whatever it is, you just have better relationships all around. You're also less likely to react, like I said, react impulsively and get frustrated. The other benefit, there are physical benefits. You can reduce physical pain through gratitude and practicing gratitude and meditation. You can make more logical decisions. And the list just goes on. What else?
It creates
staying focused.
Yeah, and it creates self-awareness.
Right. Absolutely.
Because ultimately, whether you can find gratitude in the moment, whether you can find the calm in the storm, whatever that you're doing, ultimately for me, it comes down to that self-awareness.
Yeah. And again, then you can make better decisions because you are more self-aware. You are able to make decisions from, okay, what do I want to do? As opposed to listening to all those outside voices, because we're so inundated with social media, traditional media. You ask 10 friends what their opinion is, and everybody wants to give you their viewpoint. What is true for you? And when you practice gratitude and meditation, you're able to hear that inner voice and make decisions, be better at making decisions, and be more sure that is the right decision for you.
You mentioned research earlier. And I think it's really important to identify that there is research that backs up the benefits of meditation, because, certainly in my upbringing, meditation was almost something that was mocked. as, foo-foo, you're going to go sit in a field and meditate. And,
Right.
when really science is showing that, no, there are some very important benefits and changes that can happen within the body and the mind when it comes to meditation. So how has that changed the conversation?
Bringing in research and science solidifies the value. People, like you said, a lot of people used to think this was like a woo-woo thing. And now there's so much science and research behind it that back up what people have known for centuries. Prayer is a form of meditation. So this
Exactly.
is something that's been used throughout centuries, like the history of humans. So now there's science and research to quote unquote prove that it works, but it's always worked.
And it's just, I guess the science comes into the conversation just to, let's just say quieten down some of the naysayers when it comes to meditation. But the amount of people that you hear of meditating, and their meditation isn't just something they fit into their lives when they have time. They're very purposeful with their meditation practice, where they do time in the morning and time at the end of the day.
Yeah. When you look at some of the highest, majority of the highest performing business leaders and athletes in the world practice meditation. Why is that? It is not because they have nothing else to do with their time. It's because they understand all the benefits that it provides them so that they can play. I use the term, play, whether they're an athlete or, playing the game of business, so that they can play at the highest level. And they will tell you that they attribute a significant portion of their success to the fact that they meditate. Now, that's not to say that you can just meditate, sit on your couch, and you're going to become an awesome athlete, or bags of money are going to fall out of the sky and your business is just going to super succeed. You still have to take the actions. However, the meditation is like the key that unlocks everything else.
Yeah. And I think there's, the concept of not just thinking about something. And, there's a popular book series and movie out there that did kind of fuel that line of thinking for people. It oversimplified the conversation and really led people to believe, well, if I just sit here on myself and think about it, then I'm going to get it. And it really didn't go deep enough into the other piece of the puzzle, which is you need to have that inspired action.
I was just going to say that. Inspired action. Right. So when you're meditating and you're tapping into the vibration of gratitude, you are getting inspiration for what actions to take, because you do have to take actions, but it's not just movement and doing and being busy for the sake of doing. You want inspired actions that are going to move you forward towards your goal. And that's where those pieces all come together.
And it helps bring purpose to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now, another thing about meditation that I think trips people up is how long should they meditate for? And does that matter?
For me, what I tell people is, again, what works for you. If you can get yourself to meditate for 5 minutes, start with 5 minutes. Great. That's better than 0 minutes. And as you practice, the longer you get into it, the more you might want to stay in for 10 minutes. You might get into it and months and years down the road, you're doing it for 30 minutes or an hour. I've been practicing consistently. So I learned how to meditate when I was 10, but then I did not practice for 35 years. But I've been consistent for the past probably 7 years or so. And just more recently, I'm finding that I can stay in a meditation for 30 or 40 or even up to an hour. But that's just been recently. And that's like, I just get in there and I just feel so good. I just want to stay there. At the same time, like I said, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, most of the meditations that I create are just for 10 minutes, because the majority of people I know who are listening to them are fairly new to meditation. And so 10 minutes is a good amount of time to get in, get yourself relaxed. Because one of the other things you're doing with meditation is you are relaxing your physical body. And so it takes a couple minutes to get it, have that feeling really move through your body. So you can relax your shoulders and your neck and, every place where you hold tension, and focus on your breathing. And even that, for 1 minute, if you just stopped what you were doing, you're feeling all tense and just stopped and put your hands on your heart and focused on breathing in and breathing out and feeling that breath coming all the way down. Because we tend to breathe very shallowly for the most part. We don't realize we're doing that, but to just consciously breathe in as deeply as you can and then let it go for 1 minute, that has a profound impact on your body and your mind. And you can get benefit just from that 1 minute.
And the meditation and the, in particular, the deep breathing, that also, correct me if I'm wrong, it calms the vagus nerve.
Yes. Yeah.
So
the whole nervous system.
Yeah. Can you maybe share what the vagus nerve is and, what happens when it's, call it, agitated, and then what happens when you calm it down?
I am not an expert on the vagus nerve.
Oh, you're
not? Okay. I am not.
That's okay.
However, I had a guest on my podcast who is, and she talked about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, well, we'll have to make sure that we link that in the show notes so people know more about the vagus nerve. Admittedly, I don't know a whole lot about it, and I chuckle every time I mention the vagus nerve because I can't help but think of Las Vegas. And it's like, why would you name this? Maybe before meditation, the vagus nerve is a bit more like Las Vegas, and afterwards it's calmer.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I'll go with that. Let's go with that.
Whenever I talk about it, that's all I can think about is that's just a crazy way my head works some days.
Yeah. But it is calming your nervous system.
The parasympathetic nervous system. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you are focused, I love the practice of focusing on the breathing and then imagining that you're breathing through your heart space. And that syncs up the heart and the mind. And so that's another way that you're calming everything down. But the heart, the electromagnetic field of the heart is 5,000 times greater than that of the mind. So when you can sync those two together, and then, you throw in the gut, which is a whole other conversation about having all three of those systems. That's why when something doesn't feel right, you feel it in your gut. Everything is all connected.
It's all connected.
So let's calm it all down.
And going back to the point about science, is science has, I don't know when, but not too long ago, they've discovered that there are actually similar cells in our heart, and I believe our gut as well, that are the same cells that are in our brains.
Yes.
So really our brain has two functions. It's a brain that controls different elements of our body, but the mind aspect is, I think, what more connects our heart and our gut. That is, for me, the way I think of it is our mind, our heart, our gut is what's connected to our soul rather than our physical self.
Yes, I love that. I agree.
So Lori, tell me a little bit about Zen Rabbit and how people can get in touch with you.
Sure. So Zen Rabbit is the name of my company. I am on a mission to teach the world how to be calm and grounded, no matter what's going on around them. And I do that through my programs with private clients and with going into companies and teaching teams, again, because it's everything stems from being in that place where you are calm and grounded. Like Lucy, can you imagine what the world would be like if everyone made decisions and came at their life from a place of peace, like just peace inside them?
Exactly. And I mean, I have a lot of complaints about our educational system, especially here in Canada. But one of my complaints is that they're not teaching us the right things. And I think, one of those things that they've missed the mark on is, sure, we all have to go through gym class and we have to prove how strong our bodies are.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't teach something as simple as meditation, which, I'm quite sure would transform classrooms.
Absolutely.
If students could spend, 10 minutes in the morning before classes start and maybe 10 minutes after lunch, just to center and calm down. If you learn those skills at 5, 6, 7, 8, imagine what fantastic meditators we would be by the time we graduate from high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And they've done studies. They've brought meditation into some classrooms as, I guess a study, a test, whatever they're doing. And they see the results. They see the effect it has on kids and their home life and their ability to study and their ability to regulate their emotions, all the things we just talked about. Yeah.
And they've done similar studies in prisons.
Mm-hmm.
And they've noticed they've had marked reductions in violence and conflict by introducing meditation with some of the most hardened criminals.
Yeah. Yeah. So my program is all about helping people find that peace and calm and apply it to their lives. And so I'd love to offer your listeners a gratitude meditation. It's 6 minutes. So can you find 6 minutes to do this gratitude meditation? And that's available on my site at zenrabbit.com/meditation.
Perfect. Well, make sure you check out the show notes. I'm going to have all of Lori's links in there. And if you're looking at creating a more well-rounded practice and including journaling into your success trifecta, then I invite you to head over to my website as well and download your free copy of the Midlife Mom Journal. I'm going to have all of the links in the show notes. And Lori, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks so much for inviting me. It was fun.
If you're looking to take a deep dive and really get clear on who you are, what you want, and to start living life on your terms, then I invite you to grab a copy of my Empowered Midlife Mom Journal. It is the very first teeny tiny baby step that you can take to begin your journey of self-exploration. I promise you, it is painless and takes just a few minutes a day. Get your copy at therollercoasterpodcast.com/midlifemomjournal or check out the show notes for a link. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Roller Coaster Podcast. Want to chat or share your ideas about today's show? Pop me an email at hello@therollercoasterpodcast.com. Don't forget to connect with me on Facebook and Instagram at The Roller Coaster Podcast. Our theme song, Roller Coaster, was performed by The Lucky Setback. Audio editing by the one and only Jeff Quigley of Quigley Creative.
Life is like a roller coaster, baby.